Ernstsen, good morning. Good afternoon. Hi there. Good to see everybody here in the sanctuary. It's good to see everybody out there on Zoom virtually. And if you happen to be watching us on YouTube, welcome and thank you for tuning into Unity of Charlotte. My name is Reverend Lisa Herklotz, and I am the senior co-minister along with my husband, Reverend Jim Ernstsen, who you'll be hearing from shortly. He's going to be presenting a message for us today. We want you to know that Unity of Charlotte is a place where we nurture a deep and mature experience of God through the practice of unity principles. And simply put, this means we're here to love, to grow, and to serve. Love, grow, serve. That's our mission. If you're here for the first time, we'd like to offer you a special welcome. Do we have any first-timers? Second-timers? Not this morning, but maybe people are still coming in. We might get one. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. If you are here for the first time, if you're on Zoom and watching us for the first time, we want to know we have a visitor's package we'd love to have you get. Looks like it's already been handed out by our excellent ushers. And we want to say welcome. We love to have new people coming into Unity, and we want you to know that if you want to know more about us, stick around. We have a great fellowship afterwards. Today we're having a town hall, though, so fellowship won't be until after the town hall, so I encourage everyone to stay around for that. But you can sign up for our newsletter to get weekly up. A couple of announcements. Town hall, very important, right after the service. So we're going to sing the peace song, and then we're going to sit back down and start the town hall right away so we can get you moving and back out to enjoy your Sunday afternoon. But it's a very important experience for us as the ministers and as the board to come together with our congregation, our members, and to hear from you. First of all, we want to share with you what's been going on in an effort to be as transparent as possible, but also to hear what is going on with you and what do you want to see happen here at Unity, and ask any questions you may have of us. So please stay for that. We're also going to have a short board installation ceremony during our service. We think this is a really important thing for you to know who your board members are and to share in the experience of that service that they're providing. Classes coming up. Theater ministry, there we go. Starting June 3rd, 4 weeks. We need to get your email address if you want to register for this. Reverend Dr. Adrian is a theater aficionado. She's been teaching it, and it is going to be a fun experience. And that we must know by May 28th if you're going to register for that. So let us know. Either see her, see me, or email our admin with your email address so that we can get you registered. The Enneagram Workshop, a new workshop. It's going to be facilitated by Jim Fuller. He's going to talk a little bit more about it in our town hall. But to let you know, we have 2 in-person dates. Saturday, June 10th, after the service, in the morning, and Sunday, June 11th, after the service. So this is another really fun workshop, but it's also a way to begin to understand how you personally engage with other people in the world and how they do it and how you can do it successfully and in harmony. So join us for that. That's a part of the board training, but everyone's welcome to come. Finally, we have a new member workshop series we're starting for anyone who wants to become a new member. That begins in June with the 5 Principles Workshop. Again, if you want to be a new member, it's required. So please come and let Reverend Jim and I know if you want to be a new member so we can make sure you can participate in that. But also know it's open to everyone. Everyone. And I highly encourage you, especially the Unity 5 Principles and the Affirmative Prayer Workshop. They're powerful reminders of the very foundation of what we believe here in Unity. All right. Just a reminder, you'll find this information and links in our newsletter if you missed anything today. Now I invite you to take a deep breath in as we move into a moment of prayer. Allow yourself to simply let go and be here in this moment. This precious, sacred moment of coming together and reclaiming the presence of God in our lives, in our community, and in our world. And the power of presence that lives within us and lives within us as a community to bring about peace, harmony, and greater good to everyone. Now, please open your eyes and join me in speaking our unity prayer of oneness. There is one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God, the good, omnipotent. We claim and affirm this presence in our lives as love. I choose love. We'll take a moment of silence as a way to offer you a space to offer prayer for anyone that you are holding in your heart at this time. Anyone you want to hold in prayer, a situation in your own life you want to lift in prayer. This is the time to do that as we go into the quiet. Gently speak their name or the situation into this sacred space. You may begin now. Knowing that just by speaking it into this sacred space, this prayer has been heard and answered, and Spirit is working in and through each and every situation to bring about the highest good. And so it is. I'd like to invite Michael up now to read our daily word.
Good morning, Unity of Charlotte. How y'all doing this morning? Well, when I say good morning, then I want to hear back something that sounds like you're doing good. Good morning, Unity of Charlotte. All right now, that's good. Protection. This just reminds me so much of the prayer for protection. Today's word is protection. As I practice the presence of God, I feel secure. There's only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God, omnipotence, all power, omniscience, all knowing, omnipresence, everywhere. It's not only all around me, God is within me. As I take this truth into my heart, I feel calm and secure. The circumstances of the world have no lasting power over me. God is greater and more enduring than anything I may be called to face. I have within me the power to feel God's protecting presence at any time. As I pray, I affirm the strength and power of God are mine to call upon. I can use these divine powers to move beyond that which may scare or intimidate me. In renewed faith and deep security, I move bravely forward. From 1 John, the 4th chapter, 4th verse, the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. I don't know about you, but that's good news for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. What a beautiful message. And now I'd like to introduce Reverend Jim Ernstsen with our message today on abundance.
So our main topic is abundance. And so, yeah, today we're going to talk about abundance as well. Abundance as substance. But before we get started, a quick story. Well, you know me, I've got to tell a story each time I get up here, right? I get to share a story with each of you. So I thought back about abundance. I thought back about where I have experienced this relationship with substance that we talk about within unity and substance. And I thought back to the 15-year-old Jim. So it goes back a while, but it was the perfect example for me of being able to experience this. And think of this 15-year-old boy, Southern California, just before he had his driver's license. That's me, right? That's me. And honestly, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with driving. I want to drive. I want to get a car. I want to drive. I want to feel that wind in my hair. That's what I'm looking forward to. I imagined that I would feel the experience of independence. That's what I thought about. I imagined the music playing on that, and remember, I'm 15 years old. I could imagine that I could hear the music from that 8-track tape. Anybody else remember 8-track tapes? Yeah. I could imagine sitting in the car with my friends as we drove down the road, and that laughter and those smiles. Those are the things that I thought about when I thought about driving. I desperately wanted to grow up at that time. I wanted to be an adult, and I wanted to experience, I craved independence. I'm going to use that word. I craved independence at that time. That's what was calling out to me. And I don't think that, well, I know that back then I couldn't articulate the principles that we're going to talk about today with that feeling, but I did want to share with you how I was feeling at that time. I wouldn't have been able to say abundance at that time. I wouldn't have been able to articulate abundance and substance and flow and those concepts. But what I did know was that it wasn't about the status of the car. It wasn't about that piece of hardware as status. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about having a fancy car. It was because it could be in fact, it was a used car. It was an old car. I wanted the independence. It wasn't the physicality of it that I was looking for. I wanted self-sufficiency and I wanted freedom. So know that. And as I was thinking of this over this past week, I asked myself the question, how did I move that obsession forward? How did I move it forward in terms of, I had it in my brain. I was 15 years old. I didn't have a license, but I knew where I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to feel. What were the steps involved? That's what I asked myself. And it turned out, well, spoiler alert here, that the concept of abundance and that substance was exactly how I manifested. Well, I don't want to give it away yet. So more about that obsession a little bit later. We're going to talk about three things today. We're going to talk about substance. We're going to talk about thoughts becoming things. And we're going to talk about God's good pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump into it right away. Substance. First of all, when we talk about substance in relationship to abundance, we're referring to the concept of this abundance metaphysically, right? We're not talking about the tires and the steering wheel of my car. We're talking about the metaphysical piece of that and the understanding of the terms of that exactly. Substance is, and here's part of the definition of this that you can look up through the Revealing Word, the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Substance is the fundamental building block of our universe. Let me repeat that. Substance is the fundamental building block of our universe. And we're not talking about physics necessarily here. We're not talking about Newtonian physics as a building block, as atoms and quarks or whatever it is. But we're talking about probably is closer to quantum physics, because in quantum physics, we're not talking about just the physical. And I see some of you nodding and understanding that we're coming together in our theology with our science. It's starting to overlap and meld together. It's more of the quantum physics than the Newtonian physics. Everything in this universe is formed within unity through substance. Through substance. Substance is limitless. Substance is abundant. And we believe that. It's limitless and it's abundant. But we need to know it's there. We need to be able to practically put it into our lives as well. This is the building block of substance. Health, it can include, so along with my car, it can be health. Substance creates health. Substance creates happiness, love, fulfillment. So you see, we're not excluding the physical in our world, but it's not just that physical manifestation as well. Substance is the creative power for happiness as well. So it's kind of tricky, but that's the definition that we've come up with. How do we do it? If nothing else, within unity, we talk about being practical in our definitions, right? We don't just memorize things to memorize things and to repeat things. If anything, we talk about being practical Christians, right? And being able to take these concepts that we talk about and learn into our lives and put them into practice. Practical Christianity. So how do we put substance and abundance into practice in our daily lives? Well, we align our thoughts with this truth of the flow of abundance. Reverend Lisa spoke last week about that flow of abundance. That's part of the practicality of it. We believe it with every cell in our body. That's another thing that we do as well. We feel it deeply in our hearts, and we bring emotion and feeling to this through thoughts, through how we feel. We charge it with our emotions. So we think, and that's one of our 5 basic principles, what we think is manifest, but we also supercharge it with our emotions, what we feel in our heart as well. That's part of this abundance that we talk about, and tying it in with substance. In other words, we align ourselves with the truth of our abundance. Does that make sense? We align ourselves. We're not changing the universe out there. We're aligning with all the good that is already there. Now we co-create. We get to decide what those things are. But we're coming into alignment with that goodness of the universe. That's why I like that word, alignment. And allowing that attraction of the universe, allowing that flow that we talked about last week to work naturally in our lives. If we're fighting, if we're struggling with this, we need to take a step back and maybe rethink how we're doing this. It flows naturally when we're in that flow. When we're in the flow, we're in the flow. Wow, there's a limitation to my words right there. Charles Fillmore talks about abundance. One of our co-founders of the Unity movement, along with his wife, Myrtle. It is the law of spirit that we must be that which we would draw to us. We must be that which we draw to us. If we would draw love, we must be love. Be loving and kind, he says. If we would want peace and harmony in our environment, we must establish that within us. Starts within, it shows up outside of us. It starts with us. It starts with us. We're not changing out there. We're changing ourselves first, and then it spreads out there. You see the difference? Yeah. Join me in this process a little bit, because I'm going to go through a few things, but think about something that you want, some part of abundance within your lives that you want personally. And don't say it out loud. This is just an internal thing. Think about what it is that you want within your lives today, next week, whatever, but make it current. Make it something that is speaking to you right here and now, and participate with me in that. Just take a second to think about that. And I've got a few examples here as well. And it'll become obvious with whatever you've picked, the direction that we're headed here. Maybe you said, I want more friends in my life. Abundance would say, be a good friend. If you want more money, give generously. You want more health, start focusing on your good health. And that's Louise Hay would tell you exactly that. We've all heard that. You want more time. I'm so busy, I don't have time. You want more time in your life. Give of your time. Give of your talent. Serve others. You want more love in your life. Show that quality of love to others. That's how you start. That's what Charles Fillmore is telling us. Whatever you want, start with yourself and focus on that. If you want more love in your life, are you showing love to the barista at Starbucks? Who said that? Fred said that. Awesome. Good for you. Are you letting somebody merge into the traffic on the highway? That's showing love, right? It starts with us. Whatever you're looking for, whatever you think is lack. Now, that's an illusion because we don't live in lack. Whatever you think you might be lacking, that's where you start. I show love. I am a better friend to those that I already have in my social circle. I give of my time if I think I'm short on time. That's what we do. Charles Fillmore again. When we serve for the joy of serving, abundance shall flow to us and through us in unending streams of plenty. That's his example. When we do it, it shows up even more. That's the flow. It shows up. Whatever you want to bring into your life, serve in that area. Notice that nowhere in this teaching does it talk about, and think of all the people that we've talked about today, think of all the people that you've read. I've probably read 20 books on prosperity or abundance, right? All the stuff, all the quotes you've heard, all the things you've seen on YouTube and Facebook, all of the little snippets on abundance. Nobody says, hold on to it, do they? Can you think of anybody? Louise Hay, she doesn't say, hoard your good. Thich Nhat Hanh does not say that. Martin Luther King does not say that. Anybody that we know, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, Mary Morrissey, you may have been to one of her classes. They all talk about the flow. None of them say, hang on to that because you're going to lose it. It's participate. It's give it. and it will return to you multiplied, tells our scriptures. It's always about giving. And if you notice yourself feeling otherwise, I have only so much time I can give, then I'll run out. Or I have only so much love to give, then it'll dry up. I have only so much in that bank account, and then I'm going to be poor. I challenge you to make that shift in what we call abundance consciousness and say out loud, here's our affirmation. I couldn't think of the word. Here's our affirmation for this week. Jim's laughing at me back there. Here's our word. Here's our affirmation for the week. If you find yourself struggling with that giving, I let go of fear. Let's say it together. I let go of fear and know that anything I can imagine can be mine. Do you believe that? Do you believe it? I see some of you tentatively. Play with it. Like I said, practical Christianity, test it out. If you're starting to feel fearful about money, fearful about your relationships, fearful about health, engage in it yourself. Give it yourself and see what happens. Buddha would tell you that. Buddha would say, don't just believe what I tell you, test it out. Try it. And prove it, yes or no. Wow, that was a long number one. Number two, we're talking about three different things. Number two is thoughts become things. I read this in a lot of books too. We talk about our thoughts becoming things within our world. We get to decide what we focus on, what we draw our attention to, right? Yes, yes. The trap we find ourselves in, I think sometimes, the trap I find myself in sometimes is thoughts are just happening. Thoughts are just random, right? They're just entering my head. I have no control over those. Wrong. We do have dominion over our own thoughts. That is what prayer is for. That is what meditation is for, is to work on that discipline of mind. And without that, we have those 60,000 thoughts enter and leave our mind every single day, and we can get caught up in that craziness. The discipline we bring to ourselves can be a blessing in our lives. Author and motivational speaker Mike Dooley. I don't know if anyone's heard of Mike Dooley. Anybody? Yes, good. So, some people have. If you aren't signed up for his newsletter, look it up. It's in tut.com, TUT.com. It's called Notes from the Universe. And he uses affirmations aimed directly at you. So he uses your name and he embeds it in there. It's really quite powerful. Mike Dooley, Notes from the Universe. Look it up. He would tell you the same thing. He would tell you that thoughts become things, so choose the good ones. Thoughts become things, you get to choose. It's not random. You get to choose the good ones. The Buddha, we already talked about the Buddha. What you think, what we think we become, what you think you become. So I challenge you. I challenge you to pause randomly throughout your day, because thoughts come and go. We're human, right? Thoughts come and go. But pause every once in a while and examine, what is that thought in my head right now? And sometimes you can Buddhists use a bell throughout their day. Other people, every time they walk through a threshold, every time they walk through a door, they use that as a reminder. What am I thinking right now? You can set it on your iPhone. You could set an hourly ding on your iPhone. And when you hear that ding, wow, what am I thinking right now? You can check yourself. Are you engaged in those positive thoughts? I let go of fear, and I know that anything I can imagine can be mine. Number three, God's good pleasure. Luke The Gospel of Luke would say, do not be afraid. This is Jesus speaking. Do not be afraid, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Wow, that makes me feel good. It is your Father's good pleasure. It is God's good pleasure. It is the universe's good pleasure. It is the divine, however you phrase that creative power in our lives. It is that power's good pleasure to bring you the kingdom. Not just that it's random. Yeah, that good things show up every once in a while. It is that power's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. But what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? We believe in that creative power in this world and in our individual lives for all the possibilities that we can imagine, anything that we can imagine in our lives, all the good that we can imagine. Good pleasure is not simply that we allow things to happen. We're co-creating with that, bringing in everything good within the kingdom of God. So, substance, that creative power, that spiritual essence underlying all of creation. That creation starts with divine ideas. It starts with divine ideas. Those are the things rattling around in your head. It starts with divine ideas. It becomes present in your mind. It moves into substance. Wow, is that my hourly, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Okay, it works. It works. And again, it's a spiritual process. It's a metaphysical process as well. With our consciousness, with our thoughts, we align to the good. But our job in this challenge is to let go of the fear that creeps in from time to time. I can't do that. That's too big. I can't do that. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. Whatever it is, there's always those things that we are fearful of. We let go of those and we manifest. I let go of fear and I know that anything I can imagine can be mine. And I'm going to wrap up here in just a minute. So back to my story, back to that dream of mine, back to that obsession as I was 15 years old. These are the steps I took. I spent the summer of 1973, before I had a driver's license, before I had a car. I mowed my neighbor's lawns. I weeded my grandmother's flower beds. I washed cars at $1 a piece. And by the end of that summer, I found a 1962 Ford Falcon. I can't even tell you what color it was because it was multiple colors, right? Each fender was a different color. The back had, what do you call it, body putty or whatever it was all over it, so, but it ran great. I could fit my friends in that car. I started out replacing the carpet. I had to replace the upholstery in it. And remember, I don't have a driver's license yet, right? So it's sitting in the driveway. And I would drive my mom crazy because I would back it out, back it forward, back it out, back it forward. But it was legal. It was on my own property, right? I replaced the upholstery. I scrubbed and cleaned every inch of that car. I installed that 8-track tape. The first 8-track tape I bought was the Doobie Brothers. Yeah? Woo! And I can tell you, I wore that tape out. I sat behind that wheel of the car and I imagined the freedom that I would feel. And I stayed focused. I avoided fear. And ultimately, me and my friends drove down the road after I got my license. Yeah. I let go of fear. I'm changing the affirmation to one that's more personal. I let go of fear and I knew that anything I could imagine was mine. And it did. Through substance, it manifested in my life. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Namaste.
Well, this is the time that I would like to invite our current board members forward to hold a installation ceremony of gratitude and thanks. So if you are a current board member, would you please step forward and just line up to my right? Oh, no. Well, I got a big apology to make. Oh my goodness. You know what? I had this inkling sitting here that I missed something. So I'm one of the incredibly strong qualities of a board member is to be flexible and forgiving of their other board members, especially their ministers. So Martin, my goodness, I ask your forgiveness, and please know it is not because there is anything you are not bringing. I'm so happy to have you all here. These are your board members. If you do not know them, I'd like to do a quick introduction. Jim Fuller is our board president. Mike Barden is our vice president. Michael Brown is our treasurer and secretary. Then our trustees are Barbara Rolfe, Bill Spears, Martin Wells, and we have one alternate, Pat Dre, who is out of town this week, but we hold her in our heart. So I'd like to speak to you. In a spiritual community, to serve is the highest expression of our commitment and love. To be asked to lead is the highest honor. This morning, the members of Unity of Charlotte, you have chosen to lead you in the coming year, stand before you. The relationship between a congregation and board is one of deep respect and mutual regard. You have asked them to take on the holy work of discernment and guidance, and they need you to support them in their work, share ideas and concerns in love, and to offer them trust as they fulfill their office faithfully. The work of the church is the work of its people. It's the work of creating and manifesting the world of which we dream. It may require time spent poring over budget sheets, hours spent in meetings where small details are hashed out. It may manifest in shared laughter or outright frustration from time to time. But always, it is sacred. Always, this work is sacred, for it is in pursuit of our beloved community. So to the congregation, as a symbol that the work is always shared, let us come together in recognition and honor of the installation of these trustees in our ministry. If you would please stand, join your hands with your neighbor, or place your hand gently on the shoulder of the person in front of you as we connect until each is a part of this circle of this community. Service is an act of faith. Service done faithfully in love is the work of spiritual growth and community building. This is what you have asked of these people before you this morning, that they serve you faithfully and well and stay true to our mission and values. To do this, they need your trust and support. So I ask now of the members of Unity of Charlotte, will you offer love and trust to your board, responding when they seek your input, showing up when they tell you that work needs to be shared, and listening carefully when they speak of the life of the church? If so, please respond, I will. Thank you. And to you, board members, will you be diligent and faithful in your work, bringing your best selves and practicing self-care and open-heartedness, tending with love the details of the work, and always keeping the mission of our beloved community in front of you as you serve? If so, please respond, I will. Thank you. May the spirit of love guide you in the coming year. May a spirit of joy infuse the work you engage, and may your service bless you, the community, and the world at large. Thank you for your service. And if you please stay up here up front, because we're going to do a blessing in just a moment. But I'd like to call up the board members who have just recently stepped down to honor them.
So now we call up those individuals who have recently completed their service in the Board of Trustees. We have Lawrence Tolliver, we have Maria Malave. We also have Shandon Singh, who I don't think is in the congregation today, but he is another of these members. We want to express our deepest appreciation and gratitude for the time, talents, and treasures you have shared with this community through your dedication and service on the Unity of Charlotte Board of Trustees. Because of your willingness to share your expertise and experience with an open-heartedness and generosity, this community has been able to weather some challenging times and continues to move forward. Each of you have brought unique and valuable gifts to this community, and your leadership and presence has been a valued asset to our continued growth, spiritually and worldly. We look forward to your continued participation as valued members here, and I know that there will be new and exciting possibilities for you to share your passions with us. I know that Maria has returned to her love of supporting our youth and family ministry, and we thank her for that. Lawrence is getting some precious time with his grandchildren and is sharing his powerful musical talents with us. We're grateful to both of them, and I know that there is more to come. Please stand while you're already standing, but raise your hands and let us express our gratitude. And this is through our unity blessing that you see up on the screen itself. So, blessing these individuals, we say, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Thank you. And you may be seated. Yeah.
Many, many thanks to our board members and to our members here who are why we are here. Thank you. And this is the time in our service when we enter into the offering, where we put into practice the very circulation and abundance of substance that Reverend Jim was just speaking about. And we want you to know that we have many ways for you to give. And this may be new to many of you, so we're going to really be talking about it so you know how convenient and easy it is to become a consistent giver. These are posted on the bulletin board outside. So if you have your phone, you can use the QRC code. You can text GIVE to that phone number. You can use the donate button on our Unity website or in the email, our newsletter. And of course, you can always create a bill pay from your own bank. So we invite you to test those out. As a matter of fact, to provide a little motivation to try out some of these online giving options, we have a little gift for you. So if today is your first time, use the QRC code or the texting or some online donation, you come let us know. We have a gift for you. And now I ask you to join us in our offertory blessing. Joyously, I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.